Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of January 8th, 2017. My name is 2018. My name is Trey. This is the Full Spectrum, and let's get started. So One Piece 890 is the first thing on our list this week. And oh boy, One Piece 890 is a really, really solid chapter. One Piece 890, Big Mom on the ship. When last we had left our intrepid heroes, Big Mom was attacking, and it looked like they were probably going to lose. Because what could they do? There's a Yonko right in front of them. They still kind of lose. They get away, but they don't stop Big Mom. But that was never their plan either. We find out that Big Mom in her weakened state goes for Nami, and Jinbei blocks her. Blocks a cognac. Jinbei's the best. So glad he's on the crew now. I love Jinbei. You guys already know that, though. Everything about Big Mom in her weakened yet faster state is really cool to me. Because that's such a cool idea to make a Yonko. The Yonko for the entirety of One Piece have been this great, intimidating force that... we didn't really know how we were going to deal with them. We didn't know how Luffy and the others were going to be able to fight them. And to see Big Mom get weaker, but still be a threat, to still be an incredibly dangerous threat, in that she starts destroying the Sunny. She just starts taking it out. We also see that Chopper gets to block her as well. And she really gets interested in Chopper because, just like earlier as we saw with Brook, she wants to collect interesting things, and now Chopper's on her list. Man, Jinbei knocks her off the ship. And she lands on Zeus. It's not like she's going down. But the coolest thing happens here, in my opinion, which is where Nami tries to get Zeus to come back to her. And he zaps Brook, who then asks Big Mom if he can see her panties. This is such a serious, deadly, dangerous moment. And Brook is just being Brook. This is what the Straw Hats are really about. I guess you could say. They have their faith in Luffy, and they all have their dreams. But it's the fact that Brook can face a Yonko and ask her for her panties. Or at least if he can see them. While she's distracted, my man Brook the Soul King cut Zeus in half, revealing all those black balls he ate earlier from Nami were a trap. And they disintegrate Zeus in his big form. Brook steals Zeus and gives him to Nami, who enslaves him. Nami got her power up. Yeah. Big Mom is very angry now. Riding Prometheus, not happy, but much weaker without Zeus. And I'm interested to see how that works, because we know that the homies are separate from Big Mom. They have a piece of other people's souls in them, and they're separate. And we know that Zeus has a piece of Big Mom's soul in it, which is why she gets stronger when she's with him. Now that he's gone, she's weaker, clearly. How far away from her can he get? Is he completely autonomous and now working for Nami? Because if so, having a permanent piece of Big Mom's power is really good. Also, Big Mom took a lot of damage in that. And yeah, Jinbei putting out the fire and knocking her off the ship, all that was really cool. But Big Mom's angry. And she's nowhere close to beaten yet. I saw a lot of people on Reddit talking about how could the Straw Hats beat a Yonko without Luffy, Sanji, or Zoro? First off, I want to clarify that I think the days of the big three are gone. Because don't get me wrong, Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro are still definitely the strongest, but now it's the big four. The monster trio is now the monster quartet because Jinbei is amazing. And Brook has proven that he's not some second tier low string guy either. Every time Brook fights somebody, we really get to see him just be awesome. He distracts the enemy. And I don't want it to just seem like I'm just, shouting Brook's praises from the mountaintops, but he distracts the enemy, or he moves faster than they expected him to, and takes them out before they were ever ready for it. And I feel like people are putting too much weight on the monster trio. And this taking on Big Mom like this and knocking her off the ship, this was done with only not even half the crew present. What could they do with the whole crew? It makes me even more excited for Zoe when we all meet up together again and the Straw Hats are back together taking on Zoe. Not Zoe, I'm sorry. We've already been to Zoe. Wano country. I am so sorry, guys. Wano country. It makes me very excited for Wano country with Kaido and everything to do. Everything to do with him, because I think that's going to be really cool. And I want to see how that arc goes. With that said, this was an amazing chapter of One Piece. We'll come back to it in the lightning round, but very, very nice. Next up, My Hero Academia 165, Win Those Kids' Hearts. These kids have it tough. We find out that they know what's going on in the world with All Might and with everything, because they listen into their parents talking, because of course they do. They're children, and they're doing their best to make it, but, times are tough. Stuff is tough. It's not their fault. With that said, though, they have no patience for our crew of heroes here our crew of would-be heroes that are trying to win them over. And we get to see everybody give it a shot. We get to see Bakugo intending to cut off the head and the snake will die by taking out the leader. We get to see Inasa get shot down. We get to see Todoroki try to talk to him. And, it was just really cool to see all these different attempts and the different ways they did it. But what was even cooler to me was the juxtaposition of Bakugo's eyes and Endeavor's eyes. As All Might talks about how he wanted to be a shining light, a hope for the world. And we get to see a younger All Might running and desperately trying to make himself stronger, because even before he got One for All, he wanted to be that shining light. And he tells Endeavor that Endeavor can't be that light. He's got to find his own way. It was just really, really solid. I loved that. Because that's perfect for All Might. And it's perfect for Endeavor. I really want to see Endeavor come into his own as the new number one hero, trying to lead others to safety. And, you have the fun stuff of Todoroki trying to give his character bio to the kids, and the kids deciding they want to fight, and they want to be heroes, and they'll show everybody that they can. But the real strength of this arc so far for me has been the stuff between All Might and Endeavor. And the showing that it has for the younger heroes as they try to fill this void as well in their own way, because everybody's feeling it. And it's really good to get an arc to slow down for a second after the seriousness of the overhaul arc to see how this is affecting everyone, including these children. And this is very well done, in my opinion. Good job. Next up, we have Seraph of the End 64, The Name of an Angel. You, without conscious thought, pulls out his trumpet, and the angel stops screaming. Mika, of course, is thrown back when he tries to enter, and we have this really cool moment where Yu is facing down this other angel, and he wants to help him. And this other angel's like, no, you're a broken king of salt. Why haven't you destroyed all of humanity? I'm gonna kill you so that a new king of salt is born that'll actually do his job. And obviously this is gonna lead to some fun revelations. And I thought that was really cool, but that wasn't the main crux of the chapter. And that's not actually what I thought the most, was well done out of the chapter. Everything with Mika, Gurren, and Farid about Saito was awesome. It's fun getting to see Mika, who has been through so much and just wants to protect you. It's his only goal now, is to protect you. To see him hate Gurren and hate Gurren and hate Gurren, and then Gurren laugh at him. And Mika take it because he knows Gurren is right. The amazing scene, the transition, you could almost say, of having Saito's glove be on screen, and then another glove be on, I said on screen, but on page, and then another glove be on page, and it be Farid's glove, and that be Farid's reveal. And of course he brought everybody else with him, because he's Farid Bathory, of course he would. But the reveal that Saito turned him and Crowley as well. And that Saito also named him Mikaela. And Mika tries to remember what's going on. And I like that the next chapter is probably going to be the dichotomy of Mika trying to remember what happened with Saito and you dealing with this angel. And it not just being, hey, we're going to spend the next 7 chapters with Mika trying to remember. Because Mika remembers some stuff already that definitely made a big impact with me as to what was going on. Saito knew everything, obviously, going into this. We already knew that. But getting to see him bring you in, and we already knew, of course, also that you was a bit reserved when he came, didn't really want to be friends with anybody. But the way that Saito treats these kids, it's no wonder they never suspected him. He treats them very well. He's a true monster in that he can smile for the children and not actually care about them at all. But it was a good chapter. The Name of an Angel. How many other Mikaelas have they been? Next up is Dr. Stone 41. Dr. Stone. Senku. This was a really fun chapter. As Senku tries to figure out exactly what's wrong with Ruri, and her condition worsens, and everybody, thinks it's Senku's fault because he gave her medicine, and she has an attack after Senku thinks it might be tuberculosis, and Senku gets gripped around the throat. Just, man, it's such a good chapter, though. When you see Senku has figured out what it is, and goes to make a cure, and when he figures out it's pneumonia, specifically, something that nowadays we treat fairly easily, but if we didn't have our common medicines, would be very difficult and could kill people very easily. To reveal that this whole time, the only reason she's been living so well, or has been able to live at all, is because she's been eating well and Kohaku kept bringing her warm water. That's it. If not for that, she would have died a long time ago. So Kohaku, in a way, did save her sister. And she saves her again when she blocks an attack from her father to protect Senku. And it just, man, I know it's just flowing that way, almost perfectly, that they had everything they needed to get her fixed up. But I really like that it led to this moment where it wasn't just Senku fixed her. It was Kohaku kept her alive. And Senku was able to heal her. And so then, of course, everybody believes in Senku. One by one, the guards, the village, everybody does. Well, the guards of Ruri. Maybe not the rest of the village. We don't get to see that yet. Ruri's cured. And Senku tells Kohaku she did a good job. And then Ruri runs off. Because she hasn't been able to run before. And then Senku finds out the village is named Ishigami Village. After Senku Ishigami. And we'll obviously get more of that next week. But it is a little weird that nobody's ever said the name of the village. But at the same time, I guess they never really had to. They don't know of any other villages. So it's just the village. Which makes it even more strange that it was named anything at all, I suppose. But I'm looking forward to the next chapter regardless. Finding out how Ruri knows about Senku and what stories were passed down and who passed down those stories. And, how they got recorded in the first place. But, very nice chapter, very nice. Next up, we have Robot Laserbeam 39, Last Day of the Daizon Open Part 5. Robo gets a prize for his hole-in-one. And, we'll figure out that Tomoya is a little bit greedy. But really, he just wants a better car to be able to take Robo around to his tournaments in. It's food. Robo sends it home. This chapter started what I was worried would be, now that we know about the EX laser, Robo just using the EX laser all the time, and also immediately smashed it. Because I was very concerned when Robo said he wanted an eagle in this hole, and everybody was like, oh, it's going to be so difficult, you're not going to be able to do it, that he was just going to EX laser and get it. But for him to go, okay, there's a bridge on this one, alright, I have a plan, and to do a very Robo thing of dropping it, or hitting the bridge in just such a way that it rolls forward. The reveal that everybody thought it was Dorian's shot was pretty good. I don't know that it was worth then ruining the suspense of whether or not Robo would make the shot, but it was fine. his ball's further than Dorian's. And Dorian looked excited. He grinned, but also concerned. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm very much looking forward to new titles for these chapters because the Daizon Open, I'll probably never forget that exact phrase now. Because it's been first day of the Daizon Open Part 1, second day of the Daizon Open Part 4, last day of the Daizon Open Part 5. New titles would be great. Food Wars 245 is next. An expert on cute. This chapter, like the last chapter, Robot Laserbeam 39, is a little short, but that's okay because it's got some cool stuff in it. We get to find out more about Momo's backstory, and her and Erina get brown sugar as the card for what they'll be using. Momo is a beast. Momo is literally taking parchment paper, cutting it into piping bags, and using it to decorate, while also candy sculpting. Like, she's crazy. She makes a cake roll castle. And she uses soy sauce whipped cream. It's a really clever idea, honestly, to use the tanginess of the soy sauce to offset the brown sugar's qualities, I guess you could say. It's different from regular sugar in a way that makes it very difficult to cook with and still get a sweet savor out of without just overloading on sweetness. So using soy sauce in the whipped cream was really clever. We also get backstory on her from Mimisaka about how she's lived her whole life built around cuteness, and she's built an impervious castle-like defense in her cute confections. And of course, the question then is, how can Erina hope to breach it? And Megami seems pretty worried about her, but Soma says she's on fire out there. She's gonna be fine. This was a really fun chapter. I liked getting to see the look into Momo, but by Momo going first and Erina going second, it's almost proven that Momo's going to lose. And you say, but that's not true. Megami lost and she went second. Yeah, but Momo's going to lose to Erina here. I feel it in my gut. I actually didn't expect Megami to lose either, so that I could be surprised, but I expect either next chapter or the one after Erina will pull it out. Good chapter still, though. I enjoyed it a lot. Next up is We Never Learn 45. Her ex is a bolt from the blue for a professor. Predecessor, sorry. Wow, okay, Trey. Read. Best Girl Kurisu chapter, Nothing wrong with that. I thought all the stuff with her and her sister was really fun. The stuff about callbacks to stuff between Kurisu and Yuiga, like him moving the bookcase and her thinking about how strong he is, and that immediately making her think about when he held her to pretend like they were kissing to hide from Furuhashi and Ogata. That's really good in my opinion, because it builds up that the relationship is not just built on it's not just built on occurrences. She's thinking about time she spent with him. And whether she's the girl that wins in the end or not, or even if there will be a girl that wins in the end or not, it's just always nice to have those callbacks, because it shows that a relationship they could have would be built on something, and her feelings aren't just, well, he's really nice, which happens far too often in harems. Past that, there's some really fun little things here. Her mug has love on it, which seems, and both times it seems like something she would never buy, and then something she would exactly buy. And then also all the boxes from Azamon, instead of Amazon. I saw what you did there. That get stacked in the bathroom are come back later and lead to where everything's going. And I always like when you get callbacks, even if the callback was from the start of the chapter, because I actually completely forgot about those boxes that got put in there until the bathroom was mentioned. I went, oh, and then the characters went, oh, and I was like, oh, of course. All that stuff was really good. I think Miharu is fine. She seems like a fun addition to the cast. I feel like she's definitely going to wind up joining the harem. I thought that the whole introduction of her changing and Kurisu hiding him in the first place, I get why she hid him. There was really no reason to. She could have gone with the story that he was a student the whole time. But I get why she hid him. And it led to what I thought was actually a pretty funny moment of her trying to feed Yuiga the sushi she promised him in the dark of the closet, and him biting her finger and her getting a little affected by it is maybe the best way to put it. And he doesn't know. He's sorry. He's apologizing. It's weird. to him. But I also really liked the stuff with Miharu jumping to conclusions, because why else would a teacher and student not want you to go in the bathroom, both of them at the same time? It's not as much jumping to a conclusion, although it is a conclusion, as much as just following the mental math and doing the mental math and going, oh yeah, hold on, that makes perfect sense. That's why he was here. That's why she was hiding him. Everything just kind of falls into place for that. All of that is secondary, though. All of it, as much as I enjoyed this chapter, to the biggest reveal of this chapter, which is that Kurisu gave up her talent of figure skating because she wanted to be a teacher. And it takes Kurisu as a character and flips everything we know about her on her head, and then flips it right back up because it makes perfect sense. I should have called this a long time ago. She's talked about how she used to be lighter on her feet. She talked about how she used to be able to get around better. She wasn't talking about age. She was talking about that she used to be a figure skater. She's talked about so many times about how the girls need to follow their talents, not their dreams. And it's because she feels like, although she's doing what she wants to do, and she's making a difference, she doesn't want anybody else to make the mistake that she made that led to her family not wanting her to be a part of the family anymore. Miharu makes a comment about their parents, and Kurisu shuts her down. It also explains why Miharu is so defensive of her sister, because she's probably constantly having to defend her sister from her parents when they talk bad about how she made the wrong decision and went to be a teacher. It makes me love Kurisu so much more, because now when she's telling Furuhashi, give up on that, follow what you're good at. When she's telling Ogata, stop, do what you're good at, it's not out of a, I'm the teacher, I have to take care of them. You're wrong. It's out of a, I did this, and although it made me happy, it made my family hate me. Don't make the same mistake I did. And oh man, it's so good. It's such a good twist on her character, where she was already, in my opinion, best girl. Now she definitely would have been best girl. So, very much looking forward to getting more information about that. Eventually, this arc will probably lead to Yuiga telling her parents that she didn't make a mistake and she's made a big difference in people's lives and all that stuff, which is normally how that kind of story goes. But I was very much surprised that the story went that way. And I love it. It's such a good turn for her character. I'm looking forward to everything else that we see from it. And obviously Miharu will probably join the harem as well. Because Yuiga, as much as he is not a harem protagonist in a lot of ways, he still is. Which means that any girl that gets a name and is on screen for more than a couple minutes is probably going to join the harem. So, we'll see. Maybe she doesn't. But I bet she does. I bet she does. I say that, but Sekijo hasn't joined the harem. Who knows? I could be wrong. I expect it, but I could be wrong. Next up, we have Black Clover 139, the Black Bull's Hideout. So, I talked last time we talked about Black Clover about the problem of having too many characters. And this problem gets even more exacerbated for me in this chapter when we find out that Gordon uses poison badgers. How? How do you have a character that uses poison badgers and is not one of the main characters on the show? In the series? Why is Gordon not right up there with everybody else? I love Gordon as a character, even past his magic now. Because his whole thing is, hey, my family uses poison, so nobody likes us. Here I feel at home. Like, we also get to see Gray altering the properties of magic? That's really cool. We get to see that Ghosh is wanted alive and not dead by, the Eyes of the Midnight Sun. And it just, it makes me sad because I know we're going to go from these three really interesting characters, back to the main group, which has a bunch of interesting characters that are not being utilized that well, in my opinion. Because this is the time where these three characters are being utilized well. They're getting a chance to shine. And when they get beaten up by the Mikhail Caesar, made of two Knight Captain corpses, when they get beaten up by him, they both decide that it doesn't matter if they die or not. They're not going to let anything happen to the Hideout. Gordon and Gray both decide that because that's where their friends live. And there's this really great panel that is just flashback moments. And people ask me sometimes, why do you keep reading Black Clover? And obviously the easy answer is, well, I have a show where I talk about Shonen Jump every week, so I have to read Black Clover. But the answer is, I'd read Black Clover anyway, whether I had the show or not, because of moments like this, where Black Clover just does something that makes me go, man, that's such a good panel. It's the same reason why I read Fairy Tail for a long time, even though I honestly believe like the story of Fairy Tail fell apart, is that sometimes there were some amazing panels. And Black Clover doesn't have the same problems that Fairy Tail has, but it definitely has some other ones. But if I keep getting panels like that, I don't care. I'll keep reading it. That panel was really good. Also, I feel like we have to address this. Why would you make a corpse of 2 Knight Captains together? I get the whole point is that you're experimenting, and you have, 2 different kinds of magic in the same body now. Why wouldn't you just use 2 Knight Captains? Is it that their bodies weren't complete enough, and you had to put them together? Because if that was the case, just put them on, combine them with other zombies so you have 2 Knight Captains to fight with you. 2 is almost always better than 1. Except with ninjas. But still, also, the interactions between Ghosh and Gray and Gordon are really good, where they both shout, and then Ghosh comments on how now he can hear them. And then also realizes that he has something he wants to protect other than just his sister. And it's this place, this home that they lived in. They get up to fight. And I was all psyched for a great fight. But then the emergency alarm goes off because the zombies are inside the hideout and somebody else wakes up that we haven't met before, I'm assuming. So we're going to get a new Black Bull out of this, who probably also will just get left behind in the large arc of the story. And honestly, I was really hyped at the end of this chapter up until that moment, which really just tore a lot of it out for me. If it winds up being somebody we already know, like maybe Finral woke up, I don't know why he would do it from an emergency system or something like that. But if it's somebody we know already, great. But I bet it's not. I bet it's a new Black Bull. And I get the problem of always coming up with really interesting characters. I'm a DM. That's what I do, is come up with interesting characters all the time. But if you just pad a story with them over and over and over and keep throwing them in there, eventually they get forgotten. And I don't want to forget about Gordon and Gray and Ghosh. The 3Gs are a really cool team, and I like them a lot. I don't want to forget about them. But Black Clover's going to forget about them. Next up, we have The Promised Neverland 69, Introduction. This is a pretty short chapter, but we get some really good lore drops here. Emma meets the rest of the group. Violet finally gives her name. All of the people in this group of survivors are from Grand Valley Farm, where Lord Bayan, one of the demons that we'd already met, has connections and is constantly getting people to add to the farm there, or to his park there, his playground. Oliver and the others want to kill all the demons, because of course they do, and they want to escape to a human community. And when I first read that, I was like, these kids don't know what they're doing. And Emma also had that same look on her face, like, yeah, human community, huh? Yeah, that'd be nice. But after the end of the chapter, with the introduction to Lucas, who was definitely with the Nameless Man before, the facial structure's the same. There's no way they're just going to pull that out from under us and act like that's not true. With Lucas being there, I'm wondering if maybe he does know about a human community that's somewhere in this area, and that maybe the Nameless Man does too. Or if he thinks the human community would be back at the bunker where the Nameless Man would have still been, and maybe other people that he thinks might still be alive. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, this chapter was really short, and although it had some good reveals, there isn't really that much to talk about. But I absolutely love that Lucas is here, and that the Nameless Man and him will meet up when the Nameless Man and Ray come to save Emma. Also, there was a weird thing going on with, I think his name was Theo, the guy who was guarding the door. He had a little emblem on his chest. I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll find out. Either way, I wonder if maybe that's an insignia that the demons use to show that they don't want to kill somebody. I don't know. We'll find out. Looking forward to, hopefully, next chapter, Nameless Man and Ray showing up, even if they don't actually get to do anything next chapter. And then in the subsequent chapters, we get to see the big event as they all fight back. Also, Emma still wants Luvis's blood. So she's... Theo was the good kid. That wasn't the name of the gate guard. That was the kid who survived, and who Jane and... I shouldn't forget their names. They died heroically to protect Theo. Well, the older brother did. Either way, his siblings died. She's still mad about that. She wants to kill Luvis for that. So, looking forward to that. We'll see how that goes. Next up, we have Blue Exorcist 97, Beyond the Snow Part 6. Okay, so Mephisto wakes up, and that's pretty cool. And the sword breaks, and Rin is open to the influence of his father, and that's pretty cool. And Shiemi tries to stop Yukio, but a Maimon kicks her in the gut and sends her flying, and that's pretty cool. And then the rest of this chapter is kind of not really cool. Yukio leaves with Shima, and they get to Dominus Liminis, which looks sick, but we barely get to see any of the interior of, as Yukio goes up to Lucifer, who is excited that Yukio has brought his father to him. And Yukio's like, you're evil, and I know you're evil, and I can't support that, but I want power. And it's like, man, this conversation's already happened. We don't have to have this conversation again. Yukio, you don't need to be telling him this. We as an audience already know this. You saying it just makes you kind of lame, honestly. Because it's literally you saying, I want power. After you've already made it very clear that you want power. You betrayed all your friends and literally are walking right up to Lucifer going, I want power. I'm pretty sure he knew that already, Yukio. It felt, I don't know, it just felt weird. It felt like it was there for the sake of people that don't understand Yukio's goal here. Even though the last 6 chapters have been about Yukio and his goal. I don't know, it just felt really weird. I guess it is a good reminder for people that might have forgotten. But, you know, the Dominus Liminis looked cool. I doubt we'll really get to see much, other than it'll probably get attacked by demons at one point. But Shiemi was really cool. And Amaimon was really cool, especially when everybody, like, dogpiled him to stop him. But now we get Rin going crazy and having to try and control it. And Yukio begging for power. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm a real middle of the road on this chapter because the first half was really, really good for me. And the second half just didn't do anything for me. Really. Finally, we have Ino Genten Starting Point, which was a one-shot. It's a really cool premise. I really like the one-shot. I think it was really fun. But how does a guy who reads gaming magazine, plays games constantly, and plays online not know about esports? I get that in the story, esports are still really small in Japan, but esports have been a thing in our version of Japan for a while. And maybe they don't happen over there, but everybody knows about them. Some of the best players in the world, well, maybe not everybody, you know what I mean, though. Some of the best players in the world come from Japan. Like Daigo Umehara is the first one that comes to mind. And I don't know, it just seems really weird to me that he didn't know anything about it. And obviously, you know, she calls him out on it, Satsuki does, but it's just really weird. I liked everything with Toru and him being tested and everything, or working, I guess, and them testing him by making him clean and everything, but they didn't even sit him down and have him play some games to see if he was any good before they let him just join the team. That felt a little weird. Satsuki's story about the competition that she got taken to by her dad was really cool, because I think that's a lot of people's introduction to esports, is seeing a tournament or hearing about a tournament and getting hype because everybody else is getting hype, and seeing people actually crying and seeing people, you know, get angry and get excited and seeing the way that people react and realizing that, hey, these are real people feeling real things desperately trying to, desperately trying to win. And, obviously it takes me back to my first EVO that I saw, and my first time watching the Dota International or the League of Legends big events and things like that. And even Smash tournaments that I was a part of in local areas. But it was really weird to me that we went from the story of her dad taking her to a gaming tournament to then her dad being against her going pro. Maybe it was just like a one-off thing for him where he was like, yeah, let's go check it out. I hear people really like this. But it feels really weird that he was like, yeah, let's go watch this gaming tournament while we're overseas. And then was like, don't be affected by this tournament, child of mine. It just felt really weird. In fact, I feel like it was I don't know, I feel like it didn't need to happen. Like, that line didn't need to be there, because Satsuki would have wanted to win anyway, because her dream was to show all the other doubters, not even just her dad, but all the other doubters, that a top A-class student, like student council president, basically, could still be a pro playing video games. And that it would turn things around in their version of Japan. And I said Toru earlier. I meant Tomo. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought his name was Toru. Tomo, the whole thing of, him slowly getting better was really cool, seeing that happen over time. But Satsuki's so much better than him that he had to really practice that, and that's cool. It seems like a lot of people respected Satsuki already, though. Where I'm going with this is that she was able to impress Tomo with her skill. She was able to impress all these other people with her skill. There was no need to have her dad not want her to play. And I'll get off that sticking point, because it does stick with me a lot. I really dislike that that's in there at all, because it completely undermines him taking her to a tournament, which is a really cool moment in the story. Because what happens, as anyone who read the story knows, is that she gets hit by a car while bringing a controller to Tomo. She's got a gift for him. She gets hit by a car. And it messes up her hand. And she's not going to be able to play in the tournament. And I think we've all, been concerned about something like that happening before. People that play games or people that read manga worried that something could happen to their eyes. People that watch anime worried that something could happen to their eyes or their ears. It's a fear that human beings have. And when you see the car and you see her standing there, your first thought is either she's going to die or she's going to lose the ability to use her hands. And of course she does. And Tomo decides that he's going to go fight in the tournament for her anyway. And so he practices and he practices and he practices and practices and practices. And he goes and he wins. And this is just a one shot. I want to see more of these characters. I was super down for it. When he sent the letter to her and she, starts crying because she turns on the stream and she's like, no way. And he's there and he's winning for her. This is such a good story for these two characters. And you can easily see where the story would go from here if it was to continue, which is that, she would begin rehabilitation, he would continue to be a pro gamer, she would get back on the scene, and they would have a big tournament match. And it makes me kind of sad that this is just a one-shot, because there's so many good little moments here that kind of got shortened, I guess is the way to say it, where if this had been like a 3-shot or a 5-shot or even a 10-shot, 10 chapters of this would have been amazing. Where it slowly paced everything out a little bit further, and we got to see that maybe Tomo was actually pretty good at the game beforehand, because, we knew he was about to get ranked, but that he wasn't anywhere close to Satsuki's level, and I don't know, it felt short, and it was a one-shot, so of course it'd be short, and I wanted more, and I guess that speaks to how good it was, that I did want more. I really liked these two characters. Tomo and Satsuki have a really good chemistry together, and that's not just saying, as a couple, they need to be shipped. Even if they're just friends, they have a really good on-panel chemistry with each other, where when you see the two of them together, you know that they're messing with each other, they're joking with each other, they're having a good time. After, of course, they become friends, because at first they kind of hated each other. And that's fine, because it made the story mean more to me. But, I don't know, I really liked this one shot. If you guys haven't read it, absolutely read it, because it's really good. It's really solid. There's some questionable decisions in a couple places, like the fact that Tomo doesn't know about esports, and the fact that Satsuki's dad took her to a tournament, but doesn't want her going pro, or really playing video games, and that's kind of weird. But, you know, still really good. I really enjoyed it. And we'll finish things up with the lightning round today. One Piece 890, Big Mom on the ship. Amazing chapter. The Straw Hats fighting off against Big Mom was amazing. Absolutely loved it. Everybody putting up a fight, desperately trying to stop Big Mom, taking Zeus. Zeus is Nami's now. He doesn't have a choice. Great chapter. Absolutely loved it. Jinbei is a boss. So is Brooke. In fact, so is the whole crew. I love the crew. Great chapter. My Hero Academia 165, Win Those Kids' Hearts. Really good chapter. I liked it a lot, but mostly what I liked was the juxtaposition between Bakugo and Endeavor, Shoto and All Might, and the conversations between All Might and Endeavor. I thought those were really good. Getting to see some more of All Might's character when it's not revolving around Deku is always really good. And getting to see him regretting that he didn't open up his heart more to Night Eye was really heartbreaking. Definitely love this chapter. Good job. Seraph of the N64, The Name of an Angel. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. It was a little middle of the road for me with the stuff with you and the Angel. It didn't really matter that much to me. But it absolutely pulled ahead for me with Gurren laughing at Mika and Mika being like, no, you're right. You know what? You're right to laugh at me. He didn't say that, obviously, but he also didn't explode again. Everything about Farid revealing himself and talking about Saito, all that was really good. This is a really good chapter. Looking forward to the next one with the Broken King of Salt. Dr. Stone, Chapter 41. Dr. Stone. Really good chapter. Absolutely, really enjoyed it. Ruri getting better. Everything to do with the villagers, with Senku getting choked. The only thing that I'm not so sure about is that the village is named after Senku. But that could easily, be something really cool later. I'm just worried that it's going to be kind of like it's been your destiny to take this village. So we'll see how it goes. Science Kingdom needs to prevail. One thumb up for sure. Robot Laserbeam 39, Last Day of the Daizon Open Part 5. Well, one thumb up for sure. This was a fun chapter. Really short, but the EX laser straight onto the bridge was really cool. I liked that a lot. Using actual elements of the map, of the course, elements of the course to get ahead of Dorian was really cool. Food Wars 245, An Expert on Cute. This was a fun chapter. I really liked the Cake Roll Castle. That was really cool. And seeing Arena all decked out in armor about to attack the castle. That was pretty cool too. So, we'll see how this goes. Momo was a beast, so, see how good Arena is against her. We Never Learned 45. Her ex is a bolt from the blue for her predecessor. Really, really great chapter. Absolutely loved it. And I'm not just doing that because we never learn. I know everybody thinks I have a bias. But the fact that it revealed more about Kurisu's character and set her up for for why she's done the things that she's done is amazing. And I absolutely loved it. Really good chapter. Black Clover 139, The Black Bull's Hideout. This was a 2 thumbs up until the end where it became a 1 thumbs up. I really liked the first half of this chapter a whole lot. I actually really liked everything about the chapter till the last panel. A whole lot. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But I'm a little sad because I'm afraid these characters are about to take a backseat. And I was already loving the 3Gs. They were great. 1 thumb up. Promised Neverland 69, Introduction. This was a pretty solid chapter with 1 thumb until the introduction of Lucas, which brought it to 2, because that's going to make the entire rest of the story more interesting, in my opinion. Lucas and the Nameless Man. There's a backstory there that I want to know, and I'm super down for it. Really good chapter. Blue Exorcist 97, Beyond the Snow, Part 6. I'm going to give it a thumbs up, if for nothing else than for the Amaimon kicking Shiemi after she was able to stop Yukio. I really liked Shiemi's character and where she's come through the course of the story, how much stronger she's gotten, and the decisions that she's made. And I also really liked that Amaimon just punts her in the stomach with his foot. That was a really good scene, and it makes me a little sad that the second half of the chapter kind of just devolved. And then finally, Ino Genten, Starting Point, 2 thumbs up. Really liked this one shot. Wish it had been a little bit longer. It definitely had some problems, but I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up because in a single one shot, it made me care about Tomo and Satsuki in such a way that I wanted more. So, good job. That has been the weekly Shonen Jump breakdown for the week of January 8th. My name is Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum, and remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that Jump has to offer.